Hi everyone, welcome to today's lesson. Today we're going to cover cause and effect. This is the strategy we'll use to read our Greek mythology stories for the week. Cause and effect, really the main thing to focus on is that there's two parts. The cause is why something happens and the effect is what happens. Anything that has two parts can have a cause and effect in it. On the bottom there are some clue words there: so, because, since, so that, if, reason. Last week we talked about sequence and how there's clue words for sequencing. Same thing with cause and effect. We'll keep an eye out for those clue words. So our objectives for the lesson today: 1, be able to define cause and effect, and 2, to be able to identify cause and effect relationships in your reading. So cause and effect, good authors create curiosity for the reader by using patterns of relationships. So there's different ways that they'll write, and they'll do that over and over again so that you get familiar with it and that you're more comfortable when you're reading the stories. And authors want readers to ask questions to keep them interested in the story, and that's essentially the purpose of cause and effect, that when something happens, you should be asking yourself, what's the effect, what's going to happen as a result of this? So these patterns help to keep you interested and also help you to have this repertoire of how to understand. So again, cause and effect: when one event causes another to happen, the cause is why it happened, the effect is what happens. So in our graphic down here, when there's clouds, when it starts raining, you might need to take an umbrella out. So cause and effect, cause is usually an event that happens, and then the effect is what happens because of the event. When there's one cause, there doesn't just have to be one effect. There can be multiple effects. So when an event happens in a story, you might be looking for what's the range of things that happen as a result of this. So again, for example, if it starts raining, I might have more than one effect. My first effect might be that I get to see a rainbow if it's also sunny out. My second effect might be that things get kind of washed out and there's water everywhere. But then my third effect, it might come down the line a little bit, that the plants get some life from the rain and they sprout up and grow. So sometimes there can be both positive and negative effects. We have another list of some signal words to keep an eye out for: consequently, therefore, as a result. It's showing that things are coming as a result of. So just more examples of cause and effect, and keep an eye out that it doesn't always have to be a one-to-one relationship. So let's look at a couple examples. In this sentence, you'll see both the cause and the effect. Today, I mostly want to do some work with just identifying it and making sure you can see the cause and effect in these shorter, simpler texts, so that when we go to the more complicated text, you'll have a better job at being able to pull those out. So here it says, the rain was pouring down, so we had to stay inside. So we have our event here: rain is pouring down. That's our cause, what happens. And then we're looking for the effect. What happens as a result of rain pouring down? We have it bolded and underlined here. We have to stay inside. So you find the relationship there. You see those two things. That's your cause, that's your effect. So let's look at a little bit longer of an example. And in here, the key words are bolded that I'll show you that relationship. So we'll use that to look for the cause and effect. Many years ago, a group of people called the Huns attacked China. The Huns wanted to conquer the Chinese. Because the Chinese wanted to protect themselves, they built a huge wall. This wall was 1,500 miles long. As a result of this wall, the Huns were kept out of China. The Great Wall of China is still standing today. So we see cause and effect here. First, we want to ask ourselves, what happened? So the thing that happened is the Chinese built a wall. Because that's the thing that happened, this is the effect. So now we want to know what caused them to build this wall. So they built the wall to keep the Huns out. So first, the Huns are trying to get in. That's our thing that's happening. The effect of that is that they built a wall. So we see those clue words: because and as a result. So we know that as a result, that's going to be our thing that is the effect. So that keyword helps us see that relationship, because they won't always be in order. It won't always be the cause first and then the effect. Sometimes we'll see this was the effect and now here's what's causing it. So knowing those keywords will help you to kind of put the story back in order. So I'll also have you try to come up with some effects. This process should be kind of logical. You should think, what things could logically come out of this? So what are the things that are happening in the event, in the cause, and then what are the effects that come out of it? So we have, Sarah was invited to hang out with Robert after school. She forgot that she was supposed to meet with Kayla to work on their history project. At school the next day, so what are some things that might happen as a result of this? And like I said before, there's not always just one effect. So our effect might be something about the way Sarah is feeling, because Sarah was invited and she forgot to go. So she might be feeling a certain way because she forgot about her friend. And then we have Kayla, who's waiting for her friend. So she might feel like her friend didn't show up, so she might have a way that she's feeling as well. So your effect could definitely be revolving around Sarah. It could definitely be revolving around Kayla, and either of those would be right. So I'll leave that one open-ended and see if you guys can come up with your own. That'll be one of the questions that's attached to this slideshow. And then here's a couple more. I'll just set you up for them and give you a little bit of context, but what would be the effect of these different causes? So the first one is you studied for your science test today. So what might be an effect of that? Do you think if you study that you would do well, that you wouldn't do as well? So that's our first one. What clues in there let you know what might the effect be? And a different but also similar situation, the second one. You did not do your math homework last night. So your effect might be about what you do the next day, might be about what your teacher does the next day. What effect might happen as a result of you not doing your math homework, or it might have to do with your parents. Our last one, you forgot to walk the dog after school. So again, your effect can kind of go a lot of different ways. It can be about how does it affect you, how does it affect the dog, or how does it affect the people around you? Like what might other people do as a result of you not walking the dog? So again, I'll leave those ones open-ended. What do you think would happen as a result of these things? So now let's try some identification. In the next couple slides, I'll be giving you a couple sentences, and I'll ask, is the phrase that appears in all capital letters the cause or the effect? So our first example says, Sally wanted to go to the movies with her friends, but had no money. She decided to sneak in, but got ejected, kicked out. Sally is now banned from that movie theater. So this part that's all in caps, is that our cause or our effect? I'll give you a second to think about it before I highlight the answer. So this should be our effect. Our cause comes before it, and it's Sally deciding to sneak in. That's our cause, that's the event that's happening. So because she snuck in and got kicked out, what happens as a result of that? She's now banned from the movie theater. So that is our effect. Because she snuck in, she got caught and kicked out, and the effect is that she's now banned from the movie theater. Let's try one more. Is the phrase that's all in all caps our cause or our effect here? Since Matt did not wash his hands today, he caught the cold going around school. So I'll give you a second for this one. And this one's going to be cause. So we're looking for the event that happened. Matt did not wash his hands. What's the effect? The effect is that he caught the cold. In these two, it's kind of straightforward. The cause comes first, the effect comes after, but it won't always be like that. So it's a good way to start looking, but don't think that that's the end all be all. Also look for those connecting words, those clue words, and see how the events are actually connected. So just quick review, cause is the why something happened, event is the what that happens as a result of it. So by the end of this, you should be able to define cause and effect and identify cause and effect relationships in your reading. And then also when we do some writing, we'll put some of that in there. So hopefully you guys have a grasp on this so that in the coming days, we can read our creation myth and our story about Prometheus and start looking for some cause and effect in there. Thanks for watching the lesson. Let me know if you have any questions.